Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here with another mystery block. I have a little bit of a head cold, that thing I get every now and then, and I don't feel like doing too much, so I thought what a good time to just sit down and do some sewing. If you are not familiar with this series, this is the Mystery Quilt Block series, and I do have a playlist. This is block number 3. What I do is I just sit down and I sew as though I would just be sewing for myself, only I'm recording it and I'm letting you know the sizes of the pieces that I'm using so you can make the same block. I do not provide patterns for this. Again, this is to just relax. I don't want to be stressed out with having to try to come up with some PDF files or even putting the sizes in the description of the video. No, not doing any of that. You can just take a piece of paper and a pencil and jot down the sizes, and then when you go to sew, just play my video and sew along. I even keep the thumbnails easy. I'm just keeping the same image on the thumbnail so I don't have to create a thumbnail. All those things are time consuming. All I want to do is sit down and sew and let you watch, and if it's possible for you to take some notes and create the block I'm making, that's great. Now this is all I have so far. This is how I'm doing this just as I sit here. I grabbed 2 scraps. This one was, crooked. I trimmed it 3.5 wide, 3 tall. This little guy is going to be attached to the 3.5 side. So just cut it bigger. I cut mine at 4 because we like to be able to sew it and then trim, and then it's all nice and even. And it's 1 inch this way. So 3.5 by 3, 4 inches by 1 inch. And I'm just going to put this here and sew. You also might want to watch how I turn things. We just sewed this on what looks like the bottom, but I might turn it this way, and I am. I don't know, I just feel like having it on the top. So take this piece that we just made, and you're going to add a piece to this side. And this is 2 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Again, I always cut a little extra so we can trim. See how I trimmed the extra off this? And it's a little wonky. That's okay. So I'm just going to sew this here. I found this in the scraps and I have more like that. So this is 4 inches wide by about 6 inches tall. And I've decided I'm going to put it like this. So we're going to be turning this little block. I don't have things like A, B, C. I don't even want to do that. So just, again, you'll just have to look and see. I'm trying not to make this complicated for you guys, but I am trying to have something that I absolutely love that is easy for me. Please let me just have this series to do things the way I feel like doing them and not have to be pressured to teach. You can follow along. If you know anything about sewing, you're going to be fine. So I'm going to turn it this way with that little narrow 1-inch strip that we had, and I'm going to put it on here, and I am going to sew, and then I will open it, and I'm pressing. You know what I have on my table? This is 4 thicknesses of batting, and I have my iron, and this is my little ironing mat. It's perfect. I love it. So I go and I press open and then I trim. Let me sew. Now we have these 2 pieces. These are both 5 inches by 2 inches. We're going to sew these together to create a strip. It doesn't have to be this long, but I'm going to show you why I'm making it this long. Well, first of all, the scraps were about that size. But it's good to have 2 long, not just so we can have even edges by trimming excess, but it's going to give us wiggle room where we want this seam to go. So let me just sew these 2 together right here, like that. Now I'm bringing this guy back, and I'm leaving it like this. And I didn't really trim great in the bottom here. I see a little piece sticking up. That's okay. And when I saw this with the pink, I kind of liked that with this. Now see what I mean? If you have a long enough strip, I could go this way. I can go this way. I want a lot of this pink. And this is directional, but I want the pink this way. It's not so directional that it would bother me if it's upside down in a quilt, but you know, we don't know which way these are going to go when we use them. I would say if you have directional prints in your block, at least in that block, make them all in the same direction. All right, so I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to just fold this here and turn it because I want to start sewing. I want to hop on there. So I'm going to just turn it like that. Straighten that out and sew. This is what I have, and look, when I trimmed that, this is a nice little piece. It'll start another block. You know what? I'm going to stop with this one. I'm going to trim this to 6 inches square. I think we've done an 8-inch square and maybe a 9-inch square. I can't remember. This is going to be a 6-inch square. Let me show you the others. This was the first one, and it's an 8-inch square. This is a 9-inch square. Oh, I used that gray. I have no problem using the same prints in different blocks. I try not to use the same print in any one block, but I definitely will be repeating prints. And let me go trim this one to 6. I forgot to mention before I trim, when we trim, we don't want a seam to be very close to the edge. So I'm going to look at this piece. I want to trim it to 6 inches. I don't want to take anything off this side. I like this way. But I have a lot of room here. So I'm going to measure and trim here. And then I have a choice if I want to trim here, or maybe a little bit off each. I think for this, I might take a little bit off each side. And then for this, I'm taking off only on that side. I really love this one. And you might be thinking, yeah, but it's only 6 inches square and the others are 8 and 9. What are we going to do with all that? We're going to be able to put these things together. And it's a good idea to stop at a certain size when you know it's going to work. Now, if you thought you had to force yourself to make this an 8-inch square, it's hard because you have to remember that you don't want seams close to the end. So what you have to do sometimes is you have to maybe cut your block and add more to it to be able to cut it to 8. This happened to work out perfectly, so I stopped it at 6. I didn't want to have to deal with trying to figure it out. When we put blocks together, you can lay them out and say, okay, this is going next to an 8-inch, and it's going to need extra. I was going to say 2, but we have a seam allowance, so you would need like a 2.5-inch strip somewhere, and then that's where you would add to this block at that point when you know what you need. Or maybe it will go up against something that's 10 inches. We just don't know. This is our 6-inch square. It is mystery block number 3. I hope you like it. Do join my Facebook group. You can't post in that group, but you can put your images in the comments. So hopefully you join that. I'm going to really try hard to maybe make 2 mystery blocks a week because I really enjoy this. It's stress-free and I love it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye.